nice chill song here. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome. Okay, we're gonna wait just a little bit here, maybe about a minute, just to make sure everyone is notified. I'm pretty sure everyone should be able to hear me, first and foremost. Make sure. Okay. Hey, what's up guys? I can see your guys' reactions there. Look at that, we're past 600 subscribers. We're really growing here on the channel, and I think I've made it a goal earlier this year that I really want to focus on the growth of this channel, and we've grown over 200 subs this year, I believe. So that's very good to see. We're nearing that 1,000 sub mark. So hopefully we get there very soon, maybe even next year, we'll see. Hey, what's up guys? Hello. So hopefully, you know, we can continue to see this channel growing, and of course it helps whenever you guys hit that like button down below, or maybe even just share the video, or if you guys just want to watch it again, any of my live stream replays, or even just the uploaded videos that I have on the channel, whatever it is, every single one of my videos are definitely applicable to your own journeys, your own trading, and just overall it should just always give you guys you know, trading ideas, and just overall even just lessons, right, of trading. So, and hopefully you guys are able to see that and actually apply the things that I talk about. All right, hello. Okay, so hey, I see you guys' likes there already too. Thank you guys so much. And yeah, I think people should be getting their notifications now. Thank you for the hearts. Okay. Because I do see the chat, so you guys can be as active as you want on the chat if you want to. Let me make sure that people in my Discord are also notified that I am live. Gotta make sure that's happening here. Hello. Okay. Make sure they set up here. Hey, what's up guys? More people are coming in now. So I'm a little bit too close to the mic, I know. Okay, there we go. Now, a lot more people. What's up? Hello. So there was no stream yesterday, so I'm planning to do today's stream as if I was doing my stream like as the usual on Wednesdays, and then I'm gonna have another stream tomorrow during the day on Friday tomorrow. Okay, so if you guys want to join that during market hours, that'll be great. I'll be glad to see you guys there. But yeah, let's talk about the single ticker that I want to talk about tonight, and that is FIGR, ticker symbol FIGR, or FIGR Technology Solutions. So let me first start off by saying that I have increasingly become interested in this ticker, and I was initially introduced by this due to the 13F filing of Stanley Druckenmiller's hedge fund. And believe it or not, this relatively new IPO is now Druckenmiller's 13th largest position. So right off the bat, on his first new purchase on this ticker, he made it his 13th largest position in his hedge fund. All right. And so that caught my attention. I'm saying, well, what made him just suddenly jump in and buy a good portion of this company's shares to add into his hedge fund's portfolio, right? And again, it's in his 13F filing. You guys can see it. It's public. And he added this position in Q3 of this year. And I don't know if he has, stopped out of it, or maybe he decreased his position yet for Q4. Who knows, right? We'll see in the next Q4 13F filing. But, I think with this company, there's a lot of buzz and a lot of institutional hype around the idea of tokenization and just using blockchain technology, which we will talk about tonight. And even big institutions like Blackstone or BlackRock, right? These are huge institutions, huge bankers that are talking about tokenization and blockchain technology, which is kind of ironic, right? Because the entire idea surrounding Bitcoin and blockchain technology is for the fact that we're trying to move away from institutions, right? It's non-institutionalized, right? So, or non-bankers, if you want to say it like that, right? So, I think all these companies are starting to come out regarding fintech companies that are specifically focused on non-banker / non-institutional services, right? Like FIGR Technology Solutions, which again we'll have a deep dive on this tonight, on both a fundamental perspective and a technical perspective. But it seems like this is gaining traction amongst institutions and bankers, which is again very, very kind of ironic and funny. But I think this is a way to legitimize the idea of blockchain and even just Bitcoin itself, right? And obviously this kind of a quote-unquote new term, tokenization is not really a new term, but it's gaining more attention from the big boys, right? And smart money. And that's the reason why I think FIGR Technology Solutions is a company that is focused on actually doing something in the real world and in the digital world, right, of blockchain and cryptocurrency. And I think they have figured out a way to do this, and we're going to talk about it in 3 to 4 different ways, okay, based on what they do, actually, not just different ways. And so that's kind of the summary as to what we will be talking about tonight. But first, let's begin talking about what this company actually does, right? And so this is basically a fintech company specifically on the blockchain, on a blockchain, specifically the Provenance blockchain. If there's any avid crypto investors or any type of crypto savvy blockchain investors out there, you guys should know what Provenance blockchain is, right? So specifically, this company is a non-institutionalized, non-banker lending company, right? So they provide loans, specifically HELOCs, right? So that's a HELOC is the acronym for let me make sure I remember this. I should know what a HELOC is. Dang, it just crossed my mind. Hold on a second. HELOC is home. Hold on a second. Let me make sure. Yeah, okay, I was right. Home equity line of credit, right? It's a revolving line of credit, right? And they're basically the largest non-banker provider of these of loans and HELOCs specifically. And they basically have their own marketplace. I think it's called, what was it? Democratized Prime, as it says here on their own website. Yeah, Democratized Prime. And it's a marketplace for, as I said, on-chain lending and borrowing. Okay, so basically they provide different financial products and services, again specifically lending products and services through their main subsidiary FIGR Lending. And it's interesting to me because they basically created a digital a capital marketplace, right, for loan, right, funding. And I think this is a great way, first of all, to make a physical, like real world, quote unquote real world asset into a digital asset as well. So this is where kind of that tokenization comes in, right? That aspect of this company using that tokenization aspect. I don't know how to say this with actual words here that most people will understand. But again, it's a very, very this is a world where this digital world where things can become very complicated. And I remember someone saying this a long time ago when I was first introduced to crypto, like in order to make the overall digital asset world legitimate was to kind of make things complicated, right? But at the same time, this is that complicated process of making it legit is also what provides the security to these non-institutional networks, right? Is what I would say. And so, you know, I think it's I think it's a little bit too complicated, but at the same time, that being overcomplicated of being itself, essentially, is what I was saying, is a way to legitimize this type of technology into the real world, right? And so now, what even is, you know, tokenization, right? Well, what is it exactly, right? So basically, again, like I said earlier, it's a way of converting just the actual real world assets, right, into a blockchain-based token, an actual digital token, right? And so based on my own understanding and based on what I've learned in the past few years, since again, I have not really dived in to the world of blockchain. I've only traded crypto, and that's exactly, if you guys didn't know, I was introduced to all the markets, tradable markets, through cryptocurrencies, right? And I've only traded Bitcoin, Ethereum in my initial years of trading back in 2016 and 2017, mainly 2017, but I became a bit more educated into the digital world and cryptocurrency in mid 2016, and then I began trading it officially in 2017. And so basically this tokenization it's basically giving access, liquidity access to a bunch of different potential investments, right? And it also lowers transaction fees, right? And improves, improves security, obviously. And most importantly, yeah. So in regards to security, it improves transparency of ownership history, right, on the blockchain itself, because you're adding it onto the blockchain, right? It's a blockchain-based digital token that was it is the original real-world asset, but it's been converted into a blockchain-based digital token. Does that make sense, guys? Right? So that's kind of where that quote-unquote security comes into play here, and into the spotlight, where it basically provides that transparency of providing ownership history on the blockchain itself of that real world asset, right? And again, it doesn't I believe it can also just be digital assets, but you can basically quote unquote tokenize that digital asset onto a blockchain based digital token, right? So that's essentially what tokenization is, right? The main way that a bunch of these current institutions like BlackRock, and companies like FIGR Technology Solutions is the way that they're essentially using this type of tokenization process is by making stablecoins. If you guys haven't heard about stablecoins, right? USDC is a stablecoin, and it's pegged to the US dollar, a fiat currency, right? That's one of the most popular examples of a tokenization process that is used through that is man, I'm really having a hard time with words today. What I'm trying to say here is that stablecoins are a prime example of quote unquote a real world usage of this process, right? This tokenization process, right? I guess the better word here is asset tokenization, right? So FIGR here has its own stablecoin. So I guess the ticker for that is YLDS. Okay, it's their own official stablecoin, a digital asset that has been issued by FIGR, right? Well, specifically speaking, if I want to be a bit more specific here, they have their own subsidiary. Again, they have their own subsidiary for the lending, which is their core business, and that is let me make sure I'm getting this right. Just FIGR lending, right? And for YLDS, they were able to issue this cryptocurrency or stablecoin through their subsidiary FIGR certificate. Okay, and so this is a yielding stablecoin, or I think people like to call it a yield coin now, right? Yield coin, right? And so what's interesting about YLDS is what I found out through my research is that they're not backed by a fiat currency. They're actually backed by short-term US treasuries. All right, so that's pretty interesting, right? Just like with other quote-unquote yield coins, they pay out monthly, right? They accrue interest on a daily basis. But again, I found out that it's pegged to short-term US treasuries. So that's pretty interesting to me. If that's not interesting to you, well, I mean, that's just interesting to me, right? Because it's not like USDC where it's pegged to a fiat currency, an actual, the US dollar, right? But again, this is pegged to the US treasuries, right? Short-term US treasuries, and it's actually yielding a quote-unquote return, right? Interest. Because again, stable coins like USDC, they don't yield. They don't yield anything essentially, right? But this one does, right? So it's also regulated by the SEC. So that makes it, again, it's kind of I would say, I don't know why, I'm pretty sure people talk about this, but to me it's kind of ironic that we need the current institutions to legitimize it, right? Like YLDS having to be registered as an actual security through the SEC, right? But then again, it's like a weird double-edged sword, right? Due to the fact that there has been so many people in the past that have lost money due to a lot of, pump and runs or rug pulls, right? It seems like it's necessary for these big institutions and just the overall quote-unquote institutions to step in to try to make sure that this is a legit project or legit yield coin, for example, or stable coin. Okay, and so I find that very interesting. Again, ironic, since again the entire story of why blockchain technology or even just Bitcoin itself came into light is that, well, it was trying to become a non-institutionalized network, right? A secure, quote-unquote secure network, a digital network, right? So again, that's just my layman view perspective on blockchain technology. Again, I'm not that well versed in this world. I'm just, again, I've only been focusing on the actual trading part of cryptocurrencies and even just swapping cryptos and stuff like that, and between wallets. I'm not really well versed, but this is kind of my own summary as to what I understand, and hopefully I'm able to explain this to anyone out there who is not really understanding what tokenization is or why it's becoming kind of a mainstream thing to be focused on by big institutions like BlackRock, and obviously companies like FIGR Technology. And also, if you guys didn't know, there's other companies like Circle here that's also doing the same thing. Circle Internet Group, that's focused on tokenization and stablecoins. So again, tokenization is kind of the same thing as stablecoins. So basically, just think of it like this: a great real world use case of tokenization is stablecoin. All right, so think of it like that. Okay, so again, for FIGR here, YLDS is the cryptocurrency, or the quote-unquote yield coin, a stable coin essentially, but that actually yields something, that accrues interest over time on a daily basis, is pegged to the short-term US treasuries, right? So again, a great analogy to that is USDC, which is a stablecoin that is pegged to the fiat currency US dollars. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense, guys. Hey Joe, what's up? Thank you. Okay, so that's my best way to explain it, to make sure that you guys are able to understand it without any type of, eclectic words or any type of weird terminology that you wouldn't understand, or maybe even I would understand. Okay, so again, that's what FIGR has, right? That's their own yield coin. Okay, and so they provide that. Now again, the main thing that they have achieved as a company as a whole, and kind of their main business and their main core value of being a company, is to provide non-bank or non-institutionalized, or they're not basically not connected to any major bank, and they provide these HELOCs to, I think, like 47 or 48 states. I think it's 47 states, if I believe. Okay, and this loan origination platform that they built has currently, I believe, they have originated like 17 billion or 18 billion in home equity to date, I think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 17 or 18 billion in home equity to date. So again, they're the largest non-bank provider of HELOCs. Okay, home equity line of credit, which is, again, it's a revolving line of credit. And so to me, that's interesting. And I think just that alone, and the fact that they have their own stablecoin or quote-unquote yield coin, has turned heads amongst institutional investors like Stanley Druckenmiller, and it's provided him more of an insight as to where things can go with tokenization. And again, if you guys haven't seen that interview with the CEO of BlackRock on tokenization, you guys should take a look at that. It's worth a listen. I think it was like 40 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it's even shorter, I think. But yeah, so just search up BlackRock CEO on the future of tokenization, and essentially these big institutions are trying to pour a lot of money into research and R&D on tokenization, and they're trying to tokenize, basically change real-world assets into these blockchain-based digital assets, right? So they're literally focusing on tokenizing everything, right? They're focused on asset tokenization in the next, couple decades, right? So this is where, again, they're trying to figure out ways to change real-world or even just digital assets into a solely blockchain-based digital token. And there is a lot of hype around this, not just from retail money, but from actual smart money, from big money hedge funds and institutions. And Stanley Druckenmiller is one of them. And he was able to introduce me, thanks to his 13th filing that I read. And I was just, again, surprised that he was able to start a huge position in quarter 3, and turning it into his 13th largest position in his family hedge fund. And again, I found that very, very interesting. And so, again, I think, when it comes to companies like FIGR or even just like Circle, these are all, again, dependent on like blockchain technology. But when it comes to trading on the actual equity markets, they are in some ways connected to the movement of cryptocurrency. I know some people might disagree with me on that, but if you just take a look at the actual technical charts of companies that are focused on tokenization and are known for their own in-house, quote-unquote in-house stablecoins or yield coins like FIGR here with their YLDS stablecoin, they are affected. they are affected by the overall action on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And so, more so, if for example, network like the Ethereum network or the Bitcoin network or the Solana network or whatever network is out there, right? XRP, who knows, okay? All right, they are affected, okay? So that's the only downside to trying to trade these stocks of a company that is focused on blockchain technologies, right? And that's where kind of the risk is at, most importantly, guys. So you guys should focus on that if you guys are focusing on trying to trade or at least invest into companies like FIGR or ticker symbol CRCL, Circle, right? Yeah, so that's my main overhead risk that you guys should consider before you try to just jump into a company like this one just because a famous investor like Druckenmiller got into it. And again, you know, to me, just because Druckenmiller came into this position and made it into his 13th largest position again, which is amazing to see, that he's so confident in this company, or maybe just the fact that he wants to front run a potential large move in its underlying shares, because maybe people get a whiff of the fact that tokenization is about to become a huge thing in the next year or the next 2 years or 3 years, 3 to 5 years, let's say. Who knows, whatever his reason is, okay? Just don't try to just go all in, right? I know there are a lot of people out there, a lot of amateur retail investors who like to just follow a famous hedge fund investor or just an overall famous investor just because he bought or she bought a large position, or initiated a new position, most specifically, right? And so just because Druckenmiller initiated a new position and made it into his 13th largest position in his hedge fund using, well, buying specifically FIGR's shares, okay, doesn't mean that you guys should be going all in. All right, just putting it out there. All right, I'm not telling you guys to go all in. I'm not telling you guys to, you know, put 50% of your trading portfolio into this company. That's not what I'm saying. All right, that's not what Druckenmiller would want you to do as well. But again, that's just my warning. Okay, now let's specifically talk about what current analysts are talking about with this company. So it seems like analysts are also taking, they've caught a wind to this tokenization thing and this asset tokenization process, and the reason, well, not the reason, but the fact that smart money has gotten very, very interested. And again, BlackRock is just leading this wave of interest amongst Wall Street investors and just overall hedge fund investors, excuse me, into this whole tokenization process. And I think analysts are definitely bullish on this overall tokenization process because the overall average analyst price target currently is sitting at around 49.50 to $50. Okay, so that is a pretty good run. I would say, well, due to it's the wild nature of IPOs, it's basically hit that profit target already multiple times here. I've seen here on these three candlesticks. I mean, the high was at 49.45 for this daily candlestick, and then it was at 49.25 on this one, and then it was 49.50 exactly on the dot of that profit target. So maybe you guys can just say that, hey, it's already hit its profit target. So maybe, just maybe, these analysts are trying to pump up the stock to around 49.50 or 50 to allow possibly even more maybe retail money to come in to continue to pump up the stock and prop up the stock to the 60s, 70s, or maybe even to the triple digits. Who knows, right? So you know, this is what analysts like to do, right? And what actually caught my true interest is that the current ratings is that there are 6 buy ratings and 3 holds with 0 sell ratings, but that's only a total of 9 ratings. Okay, so that's not a lot, right? I always want to see a good amount, at least an average of not just an average, but at least 10 10 ratings from analysts, right? So this is not really being covered by a lot of people, a lot of analysts, but I would say this is still a fair amount, okay? But it's nice to see that it's mostly buys, okay? 6 buys and 3 holds and 0 sells so far, so that's great to see, especially when it comes to an IPO like this. And so now that brings me on to the next segment of tonight's stream, and that is the actual technical analysis. Now I can talk more about the stuff that I am more familiar with. So again, hopefully you guys were able to get through that painful way of me trying to figure out a way to say things in a more layman's terms. And again, I'm not fully well versed in this world of tokenization and the digital world and blockchain. I know there are a lot of great people out there who are able to explain it in better ways than I did tonight. So again, you guys can do your own research on that and look up YouTube videos on that. But again, that was my own attempt. So again, hopefully you guys were able to understand something from what I've said about tokenization. Okay. So now when it comes to the technical analysis, lovely base here. So this is a nice price discovery post IPO base. So if you take a look at this just from a weekly time frame, you guys can see what I'm talking about. It's a very, very nice flat base. All right, so we clearly have a level of resistance at $46, and well, it seems like, yeah, a little bit more of an established support level right at the whole number level of 34 bucks. So 34.00. So let me make this a bit more visual here for you guys. So red as the resistance and green as the support for this flat base. So this stock has only been trading for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 weeks, including this current week. And so that's not a lot of data to go off of, but again, I really like to see these volatile IPOs starting to make an actual range, right? Because when we have a range, that means we have data to go off of, specifically price data, and even more specifically, price levels. And so we already have very well established 2 higher time frame levels, $34 and $46. Now, if you go back down on the daily time frame or even on the hourly time frames, you guys can see even more levels, which you guys should know by now, as that's exactly how technical analysis works, right? You go from the higher time frames to the lower time frames when you're doing technical analysis. If you guys didn't know that, you guys should know that. But if you guys didn't know that, just ask me some questions and I'll answer. But again, on the daily time frame, you can see a little bit more of the more specific levels here. Like for example, 42 pops out right in my eyes, right? And you know, I think that's pretty much it on the daily time frame. I don't want to have all, like, you know, multiple levels everywhere on a daily time frame, because again, this is just a fresh IPO. We need a lot more time and a lot more room for the stock to move in order to see more data to go off of. But again, overall, very, very good basing price action. And you might be now asking me, Andrew, what does this mean, right? Well, what could it mean when an IPO that's usually, well, again, on average, IPOs tend to have very volatile price action and momentum. But when it decides to flatten out, move sideways, or again, consolidate, tighten up, that usually means that an IPO can have a very explosive move. And that leads me into today's. This is more than a 10, I think it reached like 12% at its highs, but it closed at 10.29% on the day. So that's a fairly large move. And this stock is no stranger to double-digit performances, right, on the daily time frame, right? So we have very, very large moves, and again, this is an IPO, right? So from that perspective, it was able to break over both my daily 10 and daily 21 SMAs today, and it was able to essentially retest, or not retest, but test. Not retest, since it hasn't retested it before, but it was able to test its official daily 50 SMA, which has just begun forming. And again, this is only the 13th week of trading here for this stock, so it's taking some time for my daily 10, daily 21, and now the daily 50 SMAs to form. And in the future, the daily 200 SMA will form sometime next year. Okay, and again, IPOs tend to be very, very wild in trading for the first, I would say, for the first 1 to 3 years. That's right. It could sometimes take 3 years for the stock to calm down, if you didn't know. Okay, so if you want to talk about a little bit more of a tighter range in years, I would say maybe stick to 1 to 2 time frame of that time frame of when IPOs become a little bit less volatile. But again, 1 to 3 years is a good time frame to looking out for when you maybe sometimes you have a rule where you don't want to trade IPOs until they've had some time to quote unquote cook in the markets for the first 2 to 3 years, right? So to be honest, that's a very good rule to have if you don't like the high beta that these IPOs tend to have, right? So I see you guys' reactions. So again, I say all these things to make sure that you guys are hopefully learning something. So maybe you guys can actually apply that rule to yourself. If you guys are not wanting to trade IPOs, or maybe you guys are considering to trade IPOs, maybe you might not want to do that because you're not really familiar or comfortable with this type of high beta stocks that have high volatility. But yeah, so with that, in regards to that, okay, if you were to trade this, okay, obviously today was a great entry point. If you take a look on the hourly time frame, on the 2 hour, we have a nice $36 whole number level of resistance right here. That was a great entry point. But then again, it's not the end of the world, right? Obviously held this $34 support level, which is again very, very short term flat base macro support level, as we've seen on the weekly time frame. Okay, but then again, it's not the end of the world if you didn't get it at $34 on the pivot, or if you didn't get it today at the breakout of $36, because again, if you're looking at the bigger picture, as always, here's one thing that you guys should always remember. Here's another lesson, a trading lesson. If you guys are thinking that you guys missed out on something just because you didn't get it at the optimal, quote unquote optimal, because again, that's a very subjective word in the world of trading. If you didn't get 34, if you didn't get 36, it's not the end of the world, because from a bigger picture perspective, we're still looking at a very large flat base. And if you are a breakout trader, well, you guys can simply wait until it can consolidate even more, which will be even better, right? The longer something consolidates, the better the breakout will be. That's another micro lesson. I'm kind of going on tangents here, but it's an essential tangential statement. But again, the bigger picture here is that we have a very nice flat base, and it's about to, well, if it were to continue to consolidate and move sideways, if it breaks over $46, that'll be a very nice, very nice blue sky breakout for this stock. And again, this might not look like a blue sky breakout, but you can count on a very nice, massive volume-backed breakout, since again, why is price in the first place? Why is price, or why are prices moving sideways in the first place, right? Why does that happen? Because both buyers and sellers are kind of in a deadlock between each other, right? They're fighting, and it's kind of an equal force, basically having the price go nowhere in the next few months, next few weeks, or maybe even a couple of years, right? And so, you know, the price is essentially controlled by intraday buyers and sellers, and bearish and bullish traders. And that's the reason why this deadlock occurs for weeks, for months, for years. And in this case, it's been happening just for 13 weeks. And hopefully, this nice pivot away from $34, and obviously the fact that the stock has been able to develop and actually legitimize this level at $34 tells me that this base is legit, right? It's an official flat base, and usually flat bases are great chart patterns to trade, because it's an easy bull trade and a bear trade. Why? Well, simply if you want to buy at the lower end of the flat base, then you guys can just ride it up and then sell at the top range of the flat base. And then if you decide you want to get bearish for some reason, maybe from a fundamental perspective, you guys can just simply short at the upper ranges of the flat base and then profit on the way down or until it reaches the other side, the lower end of the flat base, and so on and so forth. All right. So again, not the end of the world, right? If you just want to wait until it reaches the upper ranges of the flat base, so maybe if it retests $46 again, you guys can choose to short at that level, and you guys have all the time in the world to short that, right? The markets will always be here for you. All right, so that's a very, very long tangent, but that's kind of what I wanted to tell you guys. And you guys should never ever feel like you guys miss out on a quote-unquote optimal entry point, because there are a lot of opportunities in just one single ticker alone, especially when it comes to high beta names like this, which is again very, very influenced by high volatility and high momentum from both bears and bulls, since it is an IPO, right? So again, if you really want to just avoid IPOs, just wait for that 1 to 3 window to pass by, that 1 to 3 year window to pass by, and after the 3rd year, usually IPOs get very, very less volatile, and you will see less 10% plus range performances like this on a daily basis. Right, I'm just taking a look at these large candlesticks, right? Okay, I mean this candlestick was 16.16%. And that's a huge range, and even just today it was big too, a double-digit percentage performance day, right? So again, hey, thank you guys for the likes. So if you guys are just joining in now, you guys kind of missed on the crucial part on me talking about, or my own summary as to what FIGR Technology Solutions is. Again, it's the biggest non-banker lender of HELOCs in the nation, in the United States specifically. They currently provide loans, and they're a loan origination platform for 47 states. So again, they are nearly a nationwide company of non-banker provider of HELOCs and other types of loans and other financial services that are backed up by blockchain technology. And again, they also have their own quote-unquote yield coin, or again stable coin. And again, just to make sure you guys understand what asset tokenization is, right? A great usage case of tokenization are stablecoins. That is the product of tokenization, right? Taking a real world asset or just a digital asset, which again, there are digital assets out there that is considered quote unquote real world, that is converted into a blockchain based asset, right? And again, this what this company does, FIGR, right? It just provides more security for asset custody and just the overall transparency that comes with it when you turn something into a blockchain-based asset, right? That this overall action of converting digital assets or real-world assets into a blockchain-based digital token itself provides more transparency, right, and lower transaction fees as well. But again, specifically that security, right? This is what these institutions want, right? They want this transparency and more security, and that transparency specifically is regarding the ownership history of that asset on the blockchain, right? And that's pretty much what quote-unquote legitimizes the usage case of asset tokenization, and these big smart money companies and institutions are really getting into this, like BlackRock, right? And if you guys, again, I highly recommend you guys listen to what the BlackRock CEO Larry, I think that's his name. I don't know why I'm blanking out on his name. Larry Fink? Yeah, Larry Fink. I don't know why I doubted myself there. Yeah, of course, why would I not know BlackRock CEO? But yes, Larry Fink. He has been really just going off in the last, I think, 2 years, or maybe just this year alone, if I'm not mistaken, on blockchain technology and asset tokenization specifically. So please look at what he says about asset tokenization. All right, it's very, very interesting. Okay, so yeah, overall, that's kind of my summary as to what I've talked about in the initial innings of tonight's stream. And you guys have just joined me as I'm about to shift into more of my own personal technical targets for FIGR if I were to get this. So for example, obviously from my own subjective perspective, the optimal entry point was obviously over $36, which is over which was obviously the intraday 2-hour resistance level. You guys can clearly see that, and it was able to break out with massive amount of volume. On a 2-hour time frame, it nearly had double the amount of volume on the average 2-hour volume, or you guys can see in the top left here on my screen, on your screen as well, right? So today's 2-hour volume was at 73.26 thousand, and the average 2-hour volume is only at 41,000. So it was nearly double the average 2-hour volume, and that was a very good breakout over this $36. But if I were to want to get another entry point, okay, here is what I would do. All right, so let me give you guys a quick game plan. All right, I would just focus on the next whole number level, which is $40. And why? Well, first of all, there's two reasons. Well, the first reason will be, well, it's just that's the next whole number level, right? After the 30s, after hanging around the lower end of the 30s here. And again, this stock IPO'd around slightly over $30, okay? And it kind of hung out a little bit, kind of made a slight slanted double bottom around slightly above $30, but you guys get what I mean here. But it was able to stick around $30, and now that's moving away from the lower ranges of the 30s here. It's most likely going to want to act or move around the 40s, right? Especially after a massive candlestick like this, very bullish candlestick. It barely has a lower wick and it barely has a top wick, which signals that there weren't a lot of sellers today, and potentially we were most likely seeing shorts covering today, which is the reason why we had a massive move up, and also helped to see that in the past 2 to 3 days, both Bitcoin and Ethereum and all the other leading cryptocurrencies had a very good sizable bounce, right, from their previous lows, last month's lows. So again, you know, stocks like this, companies like this, they are influenced by the overall Bitcoin price action. And again, I've explained why it's not the case usually when people argue, or it's not a strong case when people argue that these companies aren't affected by Bitcoin's price action or movement, or the overall cryptocurrency's market value, for example, or even just the market cap of the overall totality of the crypto market. But again, it is. It very much is. So the second reason why I think we should be focusing on this $40 level as a potential entry point is that, well, if the price is able to consolidate tightly underneath its newly found and newly formed daily 50 SMA here, this dark blue line, I would want it to tighten up very close underneath this daily 50 SMA. And I wouldn't mind just a very quick sideways consolidation before it decides to break out further and eventually break over $40. Okay, like this. All right. So I think this is something that makes sense to me from a technical aspect and technical perspective. And even if tomorrow was just a simple continuation day and we decide to break and blast over the daily 50 SMA, that's fine with me too. That means there's a lot of momentum, and the fact that, excuse me, and the fact of the matter is that the daily volume bars have been consistently moving up, right? After a pretty good compression of volume is what I would say, because we had some very low volume the past couple weeks here, past 2 weeks, and we were able to have what is this, 5 days, including today, 5 trading days of very low volume. But the fact that we had a very large bullish trading day and a bullish candlestick that was printed today on the backdrop of an increasingly larger volume bar leads me to believe that there is that slight probability tomorrow that we will see a large and even larger volume bar that could possibly be on par with the average daily volume of 2.4 million. I just rounded up here, guys. And maybe even break over the average daily volume. And so if that happens, if that occurs, I'll be looking out for a break over this daily 50 SMA and eventually a break over the $40 whole number resistance level. Alright, so this is the magnet level here that you guys should be focusing on if you really want to grab a position in this one and essentially hold it until we hit, you know, the upper ranges of this overall flat base that you guys can clearly see on this weekly time frame that I keep on coming back to. Alright, so again, focus on the bigger picture. This flat base, and again, usually on average, flat bases are very easy to actively trade if that is your plan and your time frame for actively trading this specific stock, ticker symbol FIGR. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Okay, there you go. I see your guys' reactions. Thank you. That's quite a lot. Thank you. Okay, so again, I really think that this should be a fairly easy, stock to trade if you really want to actively trade it, or simply just have a nice position as a swing position or just as an overall position trade. And again, if you guys don't know what difference of that if that is, again, swing trading can be overnight. You swung a position overnight, a couple of days, a couple of weeks, maybe even a month. But when it comes to position trades, you're holding it for 3 to 6 months specifically. Okay. All right, so that's the main difference. I've always heard, I've always been asked too. There's always these questions that are being asked. What is the difference between swing trading and position trading? And that's the difference, right? So again, that is my general outlook on FIGR. And hey, if we were to go back to the overall consensus price target that analysts have, which is around 49.50 to $50 flat, that'll be great. All right, if we were, well, if I were able to get a nice breakout entry point over $46, hey, I mean, getting out at $50, that's not a bad RR, right? That's not a bad risk to reward trade. That's a 41 risk to reward trade. 1 to 4 risk to reward. You're risking $1 to have a reward of $4 from your entry point of $46, right? 46 to 50, right? 46 plus 4 is 50. All right, if you guys don't understand what I'm saying there, 1 to 4 risk to reward ratio. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully that was a pretty good kind of a summary into this recent IPO and kind of the reasons why I personally want to look into this more. I'm probably going to do a lot more research into this. And again, it seems like this company is kind of a leader in capital markets regarding blockchain technology and kind of building off of blockchain technology to provide real world financial services like loan origination and just overall funding, right? And obviously, this type of blockchain technology will definitely provide more transparency, security, and less transaction fees, right? So it just becomes a bit more of a attractive marketplace for people, people who want to get HELOCs, basically, right? Because again, this company is now known for it and it is a leader, and it's the biggest company of a non-banker provider of HELOCs. So, you know, I think this company has a lot of, just based on of what I've read on their website, has a lot of potential using such type of blockchain technology and relying on blockchain technology, and the fact that they have their own stablecoin or quote unquote yield coin through asset tokenization. That's awesome, right? And this yield coin, ticker symbol Y, I think it's, let me make sure it's correct, YLDS, which I'm pretty sure that's supposed to spell out yields, right? Because they are pegged to the short-term U.S. Treasuries, which again, that's a perfect name, to be honest. YLDS, and perfect ticker as well, ticker symbol. But yeah, that's pretty interesting to see, and it accrues interest daily and is paid out monthly like any other quote-unquote yield coin or stable coin out there. So yeah, very interesting company. Again, this is not the only company out there that is using stablecoins or blockchain technology to provide actual real-world services and products. We also have a company like Circle, which I think they're mainly known for the stablecoin technology that they have, if I'm not mistaken. But you know what? I'm not gonna get into this tonight. This specific live stream is about FIGR Technology Solutions, or ticker symbol FIGR. Okay, maybe I'll go over Circle next time, maybe tomorrow. Okay, so again, if this live stream was insightful, if hopefully at the very least, if I was able to introduce to you guys what asset tokenization is, or what even this specific company does, and why Stanley Druckenmiller has bought a huge position. Again, this is now his 13th largest position. He pushed away all the other positions that he's had that were in the 13th or 14th or 15th place, and he just straight out came out guns blazing and just bought a large portion of this company's outstanding shares and made it his 13th largest position. And again, you guys can see it in the 13F filing of his family fund. Okay, so that was pretty interesting to see, and I really want to kind of give you guys an insight as to the reasons why maybe Druckenmiller got this company and decided to buy and invest into this company. Who knows? Maybe he, maybe he already sold it in this fourth quarter. Who knows? We'll see it in the next 13F filings. Or ideally and hopefully, maybe he's just held on to this position without adding or selling, or maybe even better for any long-term bullish interested potential investors out there into this company. Maybe he may have increased his position, since I believe his let me actually show you guys his actual position. So he bought $77 million worth of FIGR, because this is the website I use, Hedge Follow, to give me a nice overall look and outlay of 13F filings. But here it is, right here, FIGR Technology, right? The new position. He currently owns over 2 million shares that are worth north of $77 million. And his average entry point is at $36.37. And obviously, during the fourth quarter, it dropped below his entry price, and maybe he was the reason why. Who knows? That FIGR was able to stick around this $34 support level. Who knows? Right? Him and maybe a couple other hedge funds out there. I mean, if you guys take a look at this, we just click on FIGR, right? There are other people, right, who have similarly bought, right, positions. Oh my God, what is this? I don't think this is correct, but maybe this is. Whoa, I did not see this, but I was just trying to show you guys here. But anyways, a bunch of other hedge funds and specific hedge fund managers have initiated new positions here, and it seems like they've all followed along here at $36.37, which is interesting. Anyways, maybe all these people, maybe it was all of them at this point, who have created this floor, a nice support level at this whole number level of $34, and maybe they're targeting the overall consensus analyst price target of $49.50 to $50. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. And again, if you guys want to know what this website is, this is Hedge Follow. I've been using this website for years to kind of give me a very good overlay of new 13F filings every single quarter of any specific hedge fund that I want to follow, or specific hedge fund managers like Soros or Stanley Druckenmiller, right? So again, really good website if you guys want to use this. Yeah. that's pretty much it, guys. And also, it looks like they're having a Cyber Week deal here, over 50% off an annual plan. So maybe check that out too if you guys really want to use this website. Again, this is not sponsored. They don't sponsor me at all. This is just a website that I've been using for years. So check it out. All right, so that is it for tonight, guys. Wow, I think that was a pretty lengthy live stream there. It's been over an hour. So thank you guys if you guys have stuck around. Wow, there's a lot of people here tonight. There's a lot of people here. There's over almost 20 people here tonight wanting to listen to me talking about FIGR. So welcome everyone. Welcome. Okay. Hey, yeah, thank you, Joel. There, he said, "God bless Andrew doing the work we sometimes don't." Yes, thank you for appreciating my insights and my work. And hey, there you go, do nothing. I'm glad to see you here with your usual goat symbol, your emojis there. Thank you. But yeah, that's it for tonight, guys. Hopefully that was a very insightful and most importantly applicable stream about FIGR technologies here. And again, I've done a lot of these one ticker streams before, and it seems like you guys really enjoy these type of streams. So hopefully I can do more of these. And again, I tend to be live at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Mondays and Wednesdays. But again, since I wasn't live yesterday on Wednesday, I decided to do my stream tonight on Thursday. But usually, again, my usual schedule, my normal schedule of streams are on Mondays and Wednesdays at specifically 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Alright, and again, I will be, as a reminder, I will be live tomorrow during market hours. So if you guys want to join, it's going to be a public stream. Make sure you guys join. And again, for anyone who is not a subscriber to the channel, if you guys want to catch me on the stream tomorrow morning, or I think midday, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. But on top of that, a notification bell icon should appear, and if you guys click on that icon, you guys will be notified tomorrow. You guys will get a notification through your YouTube app, or maybe even just through email too sometimes. But I don't think that's what YouTube does anymore. But either way, you guys should be, even if you're on desktop, right, and you guys are on YouTube and your own accounts, you guys should be getting that notification that I am live at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or like tomorrow, whenever the time will be is TBD, to be determined. But it's gonna be sometime midday tomorrow during market hours, and I will be live at that time. Okay, and you guys should receive your notifications if you have that notification bell on for this channel, Charts Focus 1. All right. Okay, so that is it for tonight, guys. Thank you all to who joined from the beginning to the end. It's been over an hour now. And again, hopefully to all the new people here, potentially new people, hopefully I have provided a lot of insight, some maybe potentially even new information on asset tokenization and what it is. Again, I just gave my own layman's definition as to what that is and why potentially maybe these institutions are jumping on this quote-unquote train of tokenization. And again, it could be a huge moneymaker. That's why, obviously. Why else would they be doing that? Why else would they be focused on tokenization and blockchain? Because again, they're realizing the potential of asset tokenization and converting real-world assets and digital assets onto a blockchain-based digital asset or token, right? And again, I gave you guys 3 reasons why, right? Transparency, lower transaction fees, and just overall security. Okay, and obviously for them, for the bigger, big money and smart money people, it's a way for them to get, well, even more money. Okay. All right. So that is it for tonight, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Again, the time is TBD for the stream. But hopefully, if you guys don't catch me tomorrow, hopefully I can see you guys next week on Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great rest of your night.